In fact, I read Gerald Ford when he was not president anymore, when he was retired.
Oh, wow.
And was at a big party, and he was a keynote speaker, and there were 10 of us that were entertainers that were hired by an agency. And he
Mm-hmm.
got in my line, and I didn't realize who it was till I saw the Secret Service all around him. And he said, I don't know what I'm doing in this line. I don't believe in this stuff. And I said, well, sir, you don't have to stay here. And he said, no, I want to hear what you have to say. And if I don't like it, I'm going downstairs and tell everybody you're a phony. So I
Mm.
made a little prayer to myself, which I never do. And I said, make me brilliant. And I was. So he jumped up. I told him something that happened when he was 19, and he goes, I'm a believer. The Secret Service were all over me.
Oh,
Then
my
when he got in
gosh.
line, they wanted their reading.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever and wherever you are watching or listening. This is the Holistic Monitor, and I'm your host, Nick Sconia. The Holistic Monitor is a wellness podcast featuring life energy research, health and wellness transformation, self-improvement and empowerment, philosophy, spirituality, and now guest interviews as well. We look forward to your comments on our YouTube channel at Holistic Monitor, and you can also listen on the go with us at Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and more. And with that, let's get today's show started. Myrna Lou Goldbaum, you do palmistry,
Yes,
and you've been doing it professionally for a number of years,
decades.
decades even. What got you started in doing readings?
Well, when I was 10 years old, I was about in the fourth grade. My mother was a nurse in the hospital. I showed up for a ride home, and she couldn't leave. The next shift never showed up. So we stayed an extra 8 hours, and little kids get antsy and noisy, and she just had to shut me up. So she grabbed a book off of the volunteer wagon and told me to sit down and read it. She didn't look at the title. She never would have given me a book on palmistry.
Wow.
And I sat there and looked at it for 8 hours. I think she gave me dinner too, but in between that, I just kept looking at all the pictures. I couldn't understand the verbiage, and I memorized it. Then I went home and read my sister, who was 6, and she was my very first one. And to date, I'm at 59,102
Wow.
hands that I've read.
That's
So
unbelievable.
that's a lot of reading.
That
So
is.
it's been 73 years that I've been doing this.
My goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, and I can
Well,
see that. So it became like something you picked up really young, like a language.
in the beginning, I wasn't so good at 10. I
Right.
get about 50% right. Now I get 90 to 95% right.
And you
So
remember the book that you were reading?
no, but somebody gave it to me. I couldn't remember the title or the author. And I lived in Colorado near Boulder. And I was doing a fair on the green in Boulder. And a man came up and sat down, and I did his reading. And he says, you sound just like a book I have. It's called Oriental Palmistry. I
Hmm.
said, I'm going to describe that book. And I told him it was an odd shape. It was a 6 by 4, which usually books aren't that size, and it was brown and had a hand on it that dipped. And he said, that's exactly right. That's a book I have. So I gave him my first book, which had just come out. That
Hmm.
was in 1997. And he gave me the book. So I have
Wow.
it, but he handed it to me in a plastic bag like this, and all the pages were going falling
Hmm.
out, and they
Oh,
were on parchment paper
wow.
because that book was written in the 1800s.
No
And
kidding.
so I had to have it rebound, and somewhere in my attic, I can't find it, but it's here. I have it. And it validated everything I memorized that I learned from
Yeah.
that book.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That's what got me started.
Yeah. Now, what is the history with palmistry? Does that go back really far? Does it go back into
It started in 3000, well, 2000 BC was Hindu Indian.
okay.
3000 BC is the kind I do that comes from China.
Okay.
And so I do what's called Oriental or Asian palmistry.
Hmm.
Get the
And
same
so
answers.
there is different kinds then?
There's maybe 15 kinds.
Oh, wow.
There's Hungarian, Romanian, Mediterranean. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
But each one gets the same answers. It's how the person perceives the lines.
Right.
Okay?
How the palmist reads the lines, or?
Here's the thing. I was in a fair here, and now I live in Florida, and the man who's in every fair that I'm in is a palmist. And he came and got in my line at this fair because he wasn't working. And he said, I want to know why everybody lines up to see you, and I get 4 readings in a fair. And I said, well, you aren't going to like it. It's not Hindu, and that's what you do. He said, I
Mm.
don't care what you do. I want to hear it. So when I got all done, his wife was standing right behind me listening. I said, so what did you think? And he said, A plus plus. And now I know why they line up because
Yeah.
I tell the truth. I don't know
How
how to
about that?
lie. I have to tell what I see,
Right.
and he makes it up as he goes. He even admitted that.
Oh, wow. Okay. But he's following a guideline of some sort, or he just
No,
goes
he
with it?
isn't, but I do.
Yeah.
He says he's an astrophysicist, astropalmist. And
Okay.
so he does a little astrology, a little numerology. He just sort of does a little of everything. And the
Yeah.
people are crying when they leave him and they come to me with tears in their eyes and they go, that man said I'm going to die at an early age. And I
Oh,
said, sit down. I'll show you what it shows here. And he isn't looking,
wow.
so
Well,
everybody does what they do.
yeah. There are a lot of I know I've looked into palmistry a little bit myself, and there are like astrological um,
Right.
positions and points.
Yeah.
The digits or
Well, it's
certain
fun to
planets.
play with that stuff, just to dilly dally around in it. It's fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Find
Well,
it
very
out.
interesting.
Well, my mother once asked me when she was 89, and she's passed away now, probably 15 years ago.
Hmm.
She said, aren't you bored yet? I said, how could you get bored? Every hand is a whole story, and I write, and I can write all kinds of stories from the different, I don't use a person's real name, but I've had murderers, kidnappers, embezzlers, blackmailers,
Mm.
UFO people. I've seen it all, you
Yeah.
know. So to me, you don't get bored if it's exciting. Some
Right.
I
Right.
don't like because they're Lulu people. They're like Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
But I have to read them anyway. So when I'm done, I go, "Whew, I'm glad that's over."
Yeah.
But mostly I like everybody that I read.
Yeah. And is that something you would see in the hand, or it's just the
Um,
nature of
Part of
the?
it's if it's in person, I can tell by looking in their eye. If it's
Right.
not on the internet, I can't see their eye.
Yeah.
So then I just have to go by the lines. So the basic lines that I use, there's 5 of them, and I
Hmm.
made a little diagram here. I don't know if you could see it.
Let's see if
Can
I
you
can
see
pull
that?
that up for you a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lifeline, a love line, a work line, reproduction, the bracelets. Then there's a million symbols, a lot of other things. But those 5 basic lines I use every time.
Hmm. And is that does that run concurrent through the different palmistry
Well, they
practices?
use fate line, which I don't. They call it the heart line. I
Hmm.
don't.
Mm-hmm.
But I look at the same line they're looking at, and I call it what I learned from that book, and it's just what it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think fate is everything that happens to you, and it's your hand. I don't think there's a certain line that's your fate line.
Yeah. Right. The one thing that's telling you what's going to happen.
Well,
It's the whole
everybody
hand,
has
right?
fate. Either you fall down and break a leg or you don't. That's going to happen. It's not fate.
Yeah.
It's just maybe you were clumsy.
Right. 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 Yeah. It's choices.
Yeah.
And so when you read a palm, you have do a lot in person. You do at shows, that sort of thing.
I'm still working. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said I'm going to be 100 years old with a magnifier and say, let me see your hand, because I can't give it up. I was going to
Yeah.
retire at 80 and I
Yeah.
couldn't do it. I like it too much. So I've got 3 more years, I think, of good readings left.
Right.
So I travel all over the state of Florida
Okay.
and I work for a big organization called Spirit Fest. And
Hmm.
they have fairs in Orlando and they have them different places. And then I do private readings, and I'm teaching a class in my house on Saturday.
Hmm.
I do it about every other month. I teach a class. Then I
Okay.
lecture. I do shows like this. I do private readings. I do parties. You
Yeah.
name it, I do
Yeah.
it. I never say no to anybody. Plus, I put my own fairs on.
Oh, really? Okay.
So
In
that's
Florida.
a little bit of work. you
Yeah,
know,
there are a lot of work, a lot of
yeah.
stress.
You
I
end
did
up
a show
making
and it
eight
stressed me
cents an
out too much.
hour by the time you do all the work,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's fun.
Do you so do you go outside of Florida at all, or?
I try not to. No,
Yeah.
now that we live here, we're supposed to be retired. So I'm semi-retired.
Yeah.
So, but we lived in Colorado, and I
Yeah.
think I knew your parents.
Oh,
Did they
really?
ever do the Celebration Fair in Colorado Springs?
I know the fair. I used to live in Colorado Springs. I never did it, but
You never went to Celebration?
I don't remember.
It's an event.
I used to go to their shop all the time.
Oh,
The big yellow buildings on in Old
right.
Colorado
Yeah.
City.
Yeah.
But I lived right down the road from there. But
Well,
I
that
don't
guy is
remember
the
if I ever
one
did
who
this show.
he owned Celebration. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that for 20 years, 4 times a year, twice
Four
in
times.
Denver, twice in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
And you're
I
only allowed to do 24 people a day, and I managed 28
Wow.
because I'd come early, stay late, and don't take breaks. So
Yeah. Straight through.
I could sneak a couple more in.
Yeah.
Sometimes I had to read people in the parking lot in my car because they refused to leave. They said, I waited 4 hours to get in to see you. They just turned the lights out. What are you going to do about it? So I said,
Hmm.
come with me.
Yeah.
I
We're going
take
to the
them to
car.
the car. I had a tape recorder those years. I plugged it into my lighter
Hmm.
and I taped them. And
Wow.
I did their reading in the semi dark, because it was nighttime.
Would that be something that you would do? Would tape? You would tape a session? That would be
I
something
would
that.
only do that now if it was an emergency.
Yeah. Okay.
And people have them. Some
Right.
people say, I'm up for a job, 3 people ahead of me, and I really want it, but I'm afraid I'm not going to get it. So I look on their hand and I say, well, of the three, you're one of the top, there's four, you're one of the top three.
Hmm.
Now, here's what you need to do. And I tell them to walk in like they own the place, wear red, because that's a power color.
Right.
And then they'll remember who you are, and maybe you'll have a higher chance, of getting picked.
Yeah.
Because I can't say you will get it or you
Right.
won't
Right.
get it because that isn't on your hand
You
till
got
you
to
get it.
bend the odds in their favor. That sort of thing.
Well, it's good to have a little push out the door if
Yeah.
somebody can help you figure out what to do. And I sort of tell them,
Yeah.
yeah.
You have a website?
Do I have a lot of fun?
A website?
Oh, yeah. My
Yep.
website, if people wanted to look me up,
Yeah.
www.myrnalou, that's MYRNALOU.com. And then if they want to email me, I always tell people if you hear this on this show, if you tell me that if they say they heard it here, I
Hmm.
would give them $25 off, and it's 100 normally. So I
Okay.
would do it for 75. And so my website's Palmist, PALMIST at myrnalou.com.
That the email. Okay.
And I did a show out of Canada, and I said the same thing, and I got 41
Wow.
readings out of that. It took me
Wow.
months to get through them because I can only do 4 a day. That's a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
reading.
Yeah, that is a lot.
Plus, I had other things going on, and you have to make a meal and do your normal stuff too.
Right. Right.
You
It's a
know,
regular job, basically, but it's a job you love. You
well,
love to do it.
to me, it's not work. It's like therapy for me.
Yeah.
Because I get out of who I am and I get into who they are.
Right.
See,
Yeah.
so when I even do on the internet, I've done people in 93 countries.
Hmm.
I
Wow.
didn't even know we
93
had that
countries.
many countries. But
Yeah.
was 92 and now it's 93. But
That's
all the
amazing.
people that I've done in foreign countries, a lot of them have invited me to come and visit them. I'm not going, but I mean, they asked me.
But that's nice.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
I've been invited to Japan and
Oh yeah.
Australia and Barcelona, a lot of different places.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have did you used to travel far and wide?
When I lived in Colorado, I did Nebraska,
Okay.
Colorado, Wyoming, just the states around there.
Yeah.
I did New
New
Mexico,
Mexico. Yeah. Right.
any of that region. But I was
Yeah.
in every single town in the mountains of Colorado
Oh,
at
okay.
different events. In fact, I read Gerald Ford when he was not president anymore, when he was retired.
Oh, wow.
And was at a big party, and he was a keynote speaker, and there were 10 of us that were entertainers that were hired by an agency. And he
Mm-hmm.
got in my line, and I didn't realize who it was till I saw the Secret Service all around him. And he said, I don't know what I'm doing in this line. I don't believe in this stuff. And I said, well, sir, you don't have to stay here. And he said, no, I want to hear what you have to say. And if I don't like it, I'm going downstairs and tell everybody you're a phony. So I
Hmm.
made a little prayer to myself, which I never do. And I said, make me brilliant. And I was. So he jumped up. I told him something that happened when he was 19, and he goes, I'm a believer. And the Secret Service were all over me.
Oh
Then
my
they got in
gosh.
line, they wanted their reading.
Oh, there you go.
Pretty
Yeah.
funny. I've done movie stars too,
Okay. Now,
a lot of them.
have you written about
I'm not allowed to write about the president, the ex-president, but
no.
but the people that I've done that you would have heard of, like Phil Donahue,
Mm-hmm.
heard of him.
Yep.
So when I
Yep.
was in high school, my high school played his because
Mm.
he's 1 year older than me. And we won, and they came to a victory dance in my high school, and they shouldn't have done that. Five boys came. And he said, I'm looking for you. And I said, oh, why is that? He said, your reputation precedes you. I want a palm reading. So I took
Wow.
all five of them in the cafeteria away from the dance because I was afraid they'd get beat up.
Yeah.
And I read his hand and I said, you're going to be the first TV show talk host. And he was.
Wow.
And I did Irma Bombeck. Did you ever hear of her? She was a
Um,
famous writer.
Not
So
familiar.
anyway, I told her she was going to write five books, and she did.
Mm.
And that was when I was 16 and she was like 21, 22.
Okay.
So then I did Jackie Gleason in the 70s
Wow.
before he died. I did John Travolta before he was even in Welcome Back, Cotter. I did him
Wow.
a long time ago. I did Ivana Trump
Mm.
before
Mm-hmm.
they were ever divorced. I said, oh, I see there's a problem in River City. She said, what's that mean? I said, that's code for I see a divorce coming.
Mm.
Oh, no, me and the Donald are like that. They got a divorce, of course. Um,
Oh.
so I've done Kevin Bacon,
Mm.
Clint Eastwood, Sly Stallone, people you would have heard of. And
Oh
I was
yeah.
named for Myrna Loy, who's a movie star. That's where the Myrna Lou comes from.
Oh, okay.
So I met her at a dinner theater, and I went backstage. I made the manager take me backstage, and I said, I want you to know I was named for you. And she
Mm.
was 80 at the time. She had red freckles all over, and really interesting.
Yeah.
And she was doing MAME, which is a big theatrical thing. And so she had me sit on the bed, and she stood, well, four of us, it was another couple and us. And she stood in front of us after she had done that exhausting show and had us entertain her. So she shows me her hand and she says, am I getting married again, dear? And I said, oh, it looks like you buried five of them. And she said, yes, I did. Is that funny?
Oh man.
So then she gives me a picture and it says, to Myrna from Myrna. P.S. Did they ever call you Myra? And we both
Myra.
cracked up because that's right. That's
The
what
same
happened.
spelling.
Huh?
The same spelling.
She died when she was 88.
Oh, is the first name the same spelling with the Y?
Right,
Oh,
right.
okay. Yeah.
Because she's Irish and that's what the freckles
Ah,
came from and red hair. And she's really a true Irish look,
yeah.
beautiful woman. So she passed away when she was 88. And that was
Hmm.
when she was 80 when I read her.
Wow. That's amazing. So, palmistry, it's been your life passion
It
and
became,
work.
right, it was going to be an avocation. I worked for 35 years in corporate. And
Oh,
when I
okay.
worked, I would do readings on weekends or at night or, whenever I could at work at lunch hours. And then it just became, when I got married in 1993, my husband said, you don't need to work all the time. Why don't you just, I have enough for all of us. I was raising his kids. He said, why don't you just do this full time and see what happens? And he created a cookie monster because I went to 70 hours a week, 7 days a week, 10 hours a day. I don't know how I had time to do laundry or anything, but I
Yeah.
threw it in between and I just loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And shows are great because you get to see so many people, you know.
Well, that's why how I got to 59,000
Right. Yeah.
because
Wow,
he
that's
was
wild.
number 9999. So he tells everybody, I was number 10,000. I said, no, I'm counting for myself and you're 9999. So he said, I'm going to still say I'm 10,000.
My goodness. Yeah.
That was 1993.
1993 at 10, and now you're at
I was at 10,000 was
59,000.
where I've come from since then.
Stayed busy.
Yeah.
How about
Well, I
that?
did 28 fairs a year when I was doing a lot of them. That's a lot of fairs. There's only
That is a
52
lot.
weeks. It's
Yeah.
only 52 weeks in a year.
Right. Yeah. My
Right.
most, I used to do shows with gemstones and minerals and jewelry. And I think the most in a year was 42.
It's almost
And
a whole year's worth.
it's
Yeah.
crazy, crazy. It was all over the country, but it
Oh,
was
that's a
insane.
different. Yeah. But you had an item that made a lot of money. Right?
I
I
had,
was charging $20 at fairs.
yeah.
So now we charge 40 because the
Oh,
economy is different,
yeah.
but it was still, they lined up.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that I did a couple of concurrent New Age metaphysical shows that
And you
were
know
really
how
centered on
crowded they
reading.
get.
What's
You know
that?
how crowded they would eat jewelry up at those places.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's a lot of competition, but
oh yeah,
um,
there's a lot of different people doing the same thing. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But and there's a lot of readers at those events too. You do you
Well,
mainly
sometimes,
go by reputation as far
well,
as
my reputation sticks out.
yeah.
So I'm not quiet about it. They see my poster. I used to have three posters. Everybody else has one.
Hmm.
So now I don't do that. I have a really big one that pulls up. One of those stand up,
Yeah.
and they can see it from across the gymnasium. And they come right to me. People look me in the eye and they know I'm going to tell them the truth. So when they cry, I cry with them. If they're real
Yeah.
happy, I'm happy for them. So they call me the soulmate specialist because I
Mm.
put together in Denver, I put 1,500 couples together. That's
Wow.
3,000 people. So I don't do that here because I don't know that many. There it's the volume of the amount of people that you see. So then I
Yeah.
would have different ways to hook people up.
Right. Right. It's a
But I
little bit
wrote a book,
more.
but one of the books that's the most popular that I wrote is called Soulmate Connections.
Mm.
And here it is. I was going to show you all my books. So this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
one. Can you see that?
Yeah. Soulmate connections. Everything you ever wanted to
Yeah,
know about
right.
relationships, love, romance, and soulmates.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So the publisher called me up and he said, "We have 900 authors here. I've never read a single one, but I read your book." I said, "Oh, that's nice. Why?" So he said, "Because the subtitle got me. The title I didn't care about, but he said that part about relationships and all that." So he says, "Everybody wants a soulmate. I do too, but I didn't know what it was till I read your book."
Nice.
Then he told me I jam packed more in those pages than most people put in a big fat book.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to send him a wedding present.
And you have several books, right?
We went
Uh,
out and found a soulmate. So
oh, from the book, using the advice in the
he
book.
knew what
That's
he was
great.
looking for then. He didn't understand. He had 20-year relationships, two of them. He was 57.
Hmm.
He'd never been married. So right
Wow.
away I thought, red flag, something's wrong, but it wasn't. It's just he couldn't commit.
Yeah.
He said he had a criteria list in his head, which we all do. And he knew what he wanted and what he didn't want. See?
Yeah.
So I wrote other books too. So my
Yeah.
first book, might as well show you. May I
Yeah.
see your hand? The publisher wanted me reading somebody on the cover, so there it is. And this one's what I teach out of. And a person could buy this book and teach themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all on my website too. Then I
Excellent.
wrote a book. I have to turn around. This one's out of print, but this one's called Diary of a Palm Reader. And this is the
Mm.
one that has the murderers and kidnappers and all that in there.
Oh,
And so I'm getting that one redone.
that's great.
And then I wrote my first novel. So I
Mm.
started writing in 1997, 96. The first one came out in 97. 2014, I wrote Cruise to the Other Side, and it's a novel with a psychic in it. And it's pretty interesting. And I was so excited when I was writing that I decided that I should be writing novels. So I'm working on another one now. And it's called What Happened on Emerald Deck. And on ships, every floor is called a deck. And
Mm.
there's a kidnapping of a newborn baby
Mm.
or
Wow.
like a 3-month-old baby.
So like a mystery book,
So that
mystery
one's
novel.
probably not going to get done till the end of the year, but that'll be my fifth book.
Wow, that's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, all of those except for the out of print one is available on your website.
No, just Yeah, none of them are out of print.
Oh,
In order to get the first one, that's the May I See Your Handbook, they have to get it through me because the publisher went out of business.
yeah.
So I have those reprinted. Then the other ones they get through me, through my website or on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. They're all over, but they need my name, which is Myrna Lou Goldbaum. And the Soulmate book has stuff in there that even your mother never tells you.
Right.
Mistakes not to make this time, questions to ask, red flags to look out for. There's a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
And because I'm on the third marriage, I knew. So the first one died after 20 years.
Hmm.
Second one was 13. This one is 30.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
haven't not been married since I was 20.
Wow.
A lot of years of
Yeah.
marriage.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of good advice you can give too.
but I got the soulmate this time.
There you go.
Right. So that's why I was able to write that because I knew what I was looking for and what it was.
Yeah. Now,
So,
the so do you teach palmistry then? You said you're doing a course.
what did you just say?
You're doing a course on
Of course, I
palmistry.
just teach one class, 2 hours, and I guarantee the person can read or they don't get to go home. They can read.
Yeah.
So I make them read each other and I listen. And if they make a mistake, I correct it. But people pick it up fast because I wrote the books so that anybody could. It's complicated, but I broke it down into little segments and I made each page has a picture of a hand with a line on it.
Hmm.
How could you can't make a mistake that way.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they have the book in front of them, and if they're looking in their hand, I make them write in the book, and then they're in the book. They understand their own hand. Everybody knows their own life. You know,
Right.
we don't know our future, but we know where we are up till today.
Yeah.
So I do past, present, and future. So the past already happened. We can't do anything about that. The present's where you are now, and you can make changes or do what you need to do. And the future is what everybody's looking forward to, except for the
Yeah.
economy. We're not looking forward to that.
Yeah. Hopefully, what we're looking forward to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there's like a specific guide. The lines have like length, chains, crossings, things like
All
that.
kinds of things. So
Yeah.
here's a list of some of the symbols. I don't know if you could see I'm holding up a thing here, but there's
Oh,
symbols
yeah.
all over the. So I'll just name off a couple. So X's on a hand mean good luck,
Mm,
unless they're on the lifeline, which I was going to go over with you on your hand.
mm-hmm.
And then it means they're guardian angels.
Mm,
Then a star is a double X superimposed on each other, and that would be double good luck. Then we all have guardian angels. That's people who were close to you, who passed away, who decided not to ascend, and they're still here with you until you go.
mm,
Then we have islands, because everybody has times in their life where they feel trapped or cornered, right?
mm.
And
Yep.
you either get out of it or you're stuck. If you're stuck, there's a dot right there. If it's an island, we all have them, and then you remove yourself from the situation and change it.
Right.
And that would be like a divorce or get out of a job you hate, or if you don't like where you're living, or you change your locale. Then there's the teacher's block, and that has to do with people that can teach. And it doesn't mean in a school district, it means you're able to get your word across and they understand you and they get it. And you can look in their eye and see they're getting it.
Yeah.
Then there's ESP, which we all have, and that's intuition. Then creativity, abilities, talent, that all shows up on a hand. Then the poison line is allergies. The Mystic Cross is an M, and everybody doesn't have that. It stands for three things: survivor, a lot of money, and nobody better ever pull the wool over your eyes. They'll be sorry they ever met you. Those are those three things. Then there's the giving line. So there's generous people and selfish people.
Mm,
So some people have tons of giving lines and they're a volunteer everywhere. And some people don't have any giving lines because they're all about me, 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 me. And that's
right.
not good. Then there's stripes, which are on the fingers. And that could be, it means mistakes that a person's made in their life,
Mm,
boo boos, I call them. Then
mm-hmm.
there's grids, and nobody I know's ever had one, but that would be a bad thing. That would be
Oh.
somebody who has to go to jail.
Oh.
Then soulmate is a reincarnation, because that's what I think soulmates are. It means you knew the person back there.
Mm-hmm.
And old soul is reincarnation. Then there's focusing, centering, grounding, lessons that you learned this lifetime that you're going to apply and not make that same mistake over and over. And new beginnings is where we all are.
The new beginnings is where we're all
So
at.
that's all the stuff I do in a real reading. In a
Wow.
real reading, when I do it on the internet, it takes me an hour and a half after I see the person's hand.
Oh, okay.
That's a pretty good, it takes me a
Yeah.
while because I go
Hey,
with the magnifier right up to the screen and look at it. It doesn't matter what it is, it's going to show on the hand.
right.
So
It's kind
I
of
could
like,
find enough stuff on one hand to do 4 hours if I wanted to.
yeah.
One
Yeah.
hand.
Would you
There's
say
a lot
it's
there.
it's kind of like an impression of karma, that sort of thing, that kind of gets
It's
something
karma, and
rolling?
it's also what makes an impression on your brain, imprints on the hand. So
Hmm.
if you fall madly in love, it doesn't show on your hand immediately because your heart and your head aren't the same, right?
Right.
So you
Right.
go, oh, I'm so excited. But your head thinks that, your heart thinks that, your hand takes 6 months for it to show up
yeah.
because 6 months
Oh,
is a
okay.
litmus test. And if something's real, it will be there and the line will come if it's supposed to. So lines start, they stop, they meander. Some are, you're born with some you get as things happen to you. See? So
Yeah.
like broken relationships, engagements that don't work, different things, all I can get it.
Hmm. That's wild.
So a lot of people go, how do you know that? So this is pretty funny. I went to my 45th high school reunion. Now
Hmm.
it's my 66th, but went to the 45th. I walked in. It was in Ohio. I hadn't seen anybody in all those years. They all stuck their hand out in front of me because they knew I did that. So I caught up on every one of them. I was 100%. I said, I see you were
Wow.
in Vietnam. It looks like you got hurt and you have shrapnel in your leg. I said, yes, I do.
Hmm.
Or I'd say, I see
Wow.
you had back surgery, or I see you've been divorced 3 times. What's wrong with you? So I could caught him up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So now we're going to do yours.
Okay.
So yours says you're left-handed. You told me that, right?
Yeah.
And I know that. So in every reading that's in person, I have everybody fold their hands up. Can you see what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to fold your hands in front of your face and
Mm-hmm.
look down and tell me which thumb is on top.
The left thumb.
I knew that.
Yeah.
Okay. So my left is on top and I'm right-handed.
oh.
I'm right-handed, but the left comes up there because I was born left and my mother switched me. Because in
Ah.
our generation, they didn't want left-handed
Lefties.
babies. Your
Yeah.
mother let you be a lefty,
Yep.
see? But
Mm-hmm.
left-hands people, I've been married to 3 lefties because I'm one of them. See,
Right.
that's I gravitate that way.
yeah.
So every left-handed person does things with a little different, distinct flair or style that's just your way. So
Yeah.
well, for instance, my husband used to build computers. So
Mm.
if you opened up one of his computers, it's all wired the way a lefty would see it, not the way a righty would wire it.
Right.
You have your desk a certain way, it's because you see it that way,
Yeah.
because you're looking at it from the left part of your brain, because you're who you are.
Right. Yeah. And
So
that's,
it
I think
says
a
you're
lot
a
of that
power.
comes, I think a lot of it comes from living in a right-handed world.
Of course.
You're forced to adapt
Of course,
to
so you are
different
in a right-handed
scenarios.
world.
Yeah.
Only 8% of the world is left-handed,
It's
really.
only 8. Wow.
92% of us are right-handed,
Wow.
except
That's
I'm a
wild.
switchy, and you got to stay left-handed.
yeah.
Okay, so it says you're a powerhouse of constant ideas.
mm.
So you have a huge amount of energy that you put into everything you do. Your longevity is 90s for parents, grandparents. It means that's who you come from, your gene pool,
Mm-hmm.
same as hers. It's your background or your makeup. It's not how long you're going to live. So I already explained that about the 120, 130.
Yeah.
You have 11 past lives. So normal's 4 to 7. So I only yell over 20, but 11 is a little bit more than 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it
Okay.
means you're 1100 years old plus now. So I told
okay.
you she was perfect.
Yeah.
She's right at 4. See?
Yeah.
So because you had 11, one of them you drowned in. The problem is you drowned in 2 lifetimes, and normally you learn that lesson and you never drown again. So one was in a bathtub, I saw
Mm.
that,
Mm.
and one was a wave flipped you upside down when you were a little kid. So that's the
Ooh,
second.
yeah.
I don't know. On past lives, I'm not that good because I never studied it. But
Yeah.
one of yours shows that you lived during the time of Christ,
Hmm.
and you were a woman, and you died of starvation because they couldn't catch something or find it or grow it. They didn't have food, and so to this day you're a grazer. Is that true?
Yeah.
A
Yeah, I'd
little
say
bit
so.
here, a little bit there,
Yeah. All
because
day
you'll
long.
never starve again. That's what
Yeah.
that means.
Hmm.
So your lifeline has a double thickness to it, and that starts on the baby finger side of your hand, right here under the fingers, about an inch down, and
Mm-hmm.
it goes across the hand. So yours shows a double thickness, and what that means is we call that it's being like a brother for yourself inside you. It's you,
Hmm.
yourself, and you. It just means extra inner strength. And
Okay.
so it says you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
And so, or it's the little voice in your head. You
Yeah.
don't say it out loud, but it talks.
Yeah.
And so it runs down the middle to the middle finger. If you look at your hand and look at your left hand, you
Mm-hmm.
have that line that starts on the baby finger side and it goes across to about the middle finger. Is that right?
Yeah.
I
Is
saw
it the
it.
top
I
line
have
you're talking about?
well,
The top line?
I have your hand here. I saw it.
Oh, okay. Well, then you tell
Okay,
me.
so you have the IQ at the bottom also. The end of that line has a fork on it. Do you see the fork?
Towards the on the little finger side.
No, start on the little finger side
Oh.
by the base of your hand and go across. At the end of that line by the third finger or the finger next to your index finger should be a fork or a
Oh yeah.
V.
Yeah. It's like a
That's your
diamond at the end or
IQ.
something like that, or yeah,
The
fork.
baby's is double the size of yours.
Oh, really? Oh, that's great.
Okay, so that's really good.
Okay.
And so we call that Father Earth when you have a double thickness besides the inner your own self. This means you care about humanity, community, animals, weather. You want to heal the earth.
That sounds
Okay.
about accurate. Yeah.
Okay. So it says you're your own best friend, your own worst enemy. You push yourself to accomplish goals that you set up for yourself. So you're hard on yourself, but you're lenient with everybody else.
Yeah.
Do you think
Pretty
you're
much.
hard on you?
Oh yeah.
Okay. You possess creative thought processing and you think outside of the box because all lefties do.
Yeah.
You're eager to learn and conquer new areas every day. So it says you're spiritual, loving, giving, thoughtful, have caring characteristics, intuitive, and you know how to read people. You can read others. So you have more than the average ESP.
Hmm.
So I know you're in real estate, right?
I was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, couldn't you look in a person's eye and know if they were playing with you or if they were serious?
Yeah. Typically, I mean, it's in sales. You kind of have to have an instinct that
You have
you
to
know
know that the
are you
person
wasting
is
your
on
time
the
or not.
same path you are, on the same playing field.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So it says you have a lot of X's on your palm.
Hmm.
So that means you've had a lot of luck over the years. Um, says you get bored or restless easy. And so you're always looking for the next thing to conquer, the next best thing you want to do. You started the podcast here for diversion, just have something different to do. And it gives you, it's like your therapy in a way,
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
meticulous about detailed work.
Wow.
So once you find a soulmate, when you leave this dimension, you're done.
Hmm.
And that's a good thing.
It's like a
So
completion.
at work, it says, what does 2023 have in store for you? So it says you have a book waiting to be created. I don't know if you write it all, but you're supposed to. It says it will become published. That means you would find a publisher who wanted it. You would
Mm-hmm.
get to go out, hold it up, talk about it, do book signings and all that. And
Hmm.
it would make you semi famous.
Mm-hmm.
And it says you follow through to completion on any idea that you have. So you set up
Well.
something in your head and you don't let go of it. It's like a dog with the bone. You just keep on and on and on till you get it. So here's the part that's exciting, and I don't know if you're going to believe it or not, but it
Okay.
says on your hand, you will be approached to do a local radio or TV show where you're the host.
Hmm.
I don't don't know if you've been asked already or not, but it's
No,
okay.
I
So I
did
got
look.
the number. I get hits besides
Yeah.
reading. I sometimes something jolts me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got a 3. So it's either 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. Well, I
Hmm.
don't think it's 3 years, but I
Okay.
think something in the next something 3 months or weeks, somebody's going to approach you and ask you if you would do it. And you're
Hmm.
not going to say no. There's no hesitation because the money will be woo-hoo, way up
Yeah.
there. So being a visionary, you can project your ideas to the people who you want them to go, to the people who want you, and they will go for it. So if they ask you to do it and then you tell them what your idea is, the format you want to do, they'll say, go for it.
Okay.
So it says you're a perfectionist in work and you have complete charge of a project or you're not happy and you're not sloppy and you don't like other people who are. You're not a procrastinator and you don't like phonies. And in any new venture you take on, it consists of hardworking people like you or you're not doing it because you're not going to work with fakers or people that are phony. It says you need a challenge, something to look forward to stimulate your mind. And your work line shows a lot of good luck.
Hmm.
That's the future because that was starting the 2023 I looked at.
Okay.
Okay, so the note is you've always gravitated to jobs or hobbies that involve the human, either the mind, body, soul, or spirit. You
Mm-hmm.
have the teacher's block on the work area. This says you can write, research, lecture, or teach. You get your point across and the world will listen. You're not lazy or laid back. You're not intense, but you are goal oriented. You're a warrior and you take on too much responsibility at times. So it says you're a risk taker and you're able to converse easily. That means you're articulate with people and you have many interests. So that was your brief one.
Yeah,
Not
that's
so brief,
pretty
but it,
accurate.
yeah. Well, the long ones takes a half hour to read
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's
So it
five
goes
or
more in
six
depth.
pages. They're 5 or 6 pages typed,
Wow.
single
Okay.
space. I mean, I don't spread it all out. I just have a lot to say,
Yeah.
and I'm a
Oh, that's really
writer.
neat.
So,
Yeah, and I see a lot of that as so I leave it after a person gets a palm reading, they should take the information and um, let it find its let it find its own level, and for
after,
future stuff like a
okay,
work or whatever, it's something that they should be open to seeing in the world as an
okay. So
opportunity.
there's my favorite saying is choice, change, chance.
Hmm.
So you either have to make a choice first, then you have to take a chance, then you have to change. And
Mm-hmm.
all that has to do with everything in life. So you make choices. I don't want to be with this person. I want to be with this person. I don't like this job. I like that one. I want to go for that one. So then after that, you have to make a change. Get away from the person that you didn't like or weren't with anymore, or get
Right.
away from the job. Then you've changed. Now you have a chance at a whole new romance, a whole new everything.
Hmm.
So I tell every single person I read that. Those
Yeah,
three things are important
and that's
because
how everything
change is what
moves.
makes the world go around, right?
Yeah.
And if
Yes,
you're stuck
definitely.
and you do the same old all the time, you're bored, they're bored, and the light, you have nothing to look forward to.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
change is always good.
So,
Just depends on what side of it you're on and how far away
um,
it is.
so when I do readings, I lose myself in the reading. I'm
Yeah.
there and I have a good time with it.
Yeah.
And then people sometimes call me or they email me back and they say, I didn't understand what you meant about da 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 da. And I clarify it and we talk about it. And then they say, oh, thank you. Now I understand. Because sometimes the written word doesn't go in their head exactly the way I meant for it to, and they don't get what I'm saying. So I say, do you get it now? They say, oh, yeah, I get it. So
Yeah,
you
and that's true. Yeah.
because you have to talk it through.
Yeah. And there's something different doing it in person versus having just a written
Well,
form.
plus I'm the only palmist in the world doing this on radio
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
on
Yeah. It's
TV.
unique.
So I came up with the idea and I thought, okay, this sounds good. I'll try it.
Yeah.
I've been in 250 shows so far.
Wow. That's
That's a lot.
awesome.
Yeah.
You could do your own show.
I could if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't need any more added to. I do have a social life too.
Right.
I did CBS radio, and
Okay.
I went out
CBS
to
Radio.
millions of people, and I did them 3 times. They kept calling me to come back.
Hmm.
So I said, "Oh, I don't mind doing this, but this is the third time. Aren't they the same listeners?" They said they're asking for you. Yeah, they wanted it more, so I did more.
Yeah.
And then I've done just all kinds of different shows and things. So
Yeah. Did you in doing it, what kind of form, you do palmistry.
yeah.
You can read your own palm.
Well, if I teach it to them, they can learn it, or they can get my book and teach themselves.
And then that person could also read your palm as well to kind of give
If they
you
know
their
how to do
insights.
it, once they learn how, they could read me. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm an
Is there
open book.
yeah. Is there another form of what would it be called, prognostication?
No, what I
Or
do, if it's in person, I touch the person, I shake their hand at a fair, I say hi, come on over and sit down. I know instantly what they want to talk about. I don't know
okay.
how I do that. It just comes in my head, I get it, I do it. But when it's on the computer, I can't touch them. So I
Yeah.
have to go by just the format with the lines. I have no choice.
When you're at a show, do you have a special um, type of divination or reading that you like to get?
Usually I go try and trade with somebody, but I never have time to have mine done because I do theirs and then all of a sudden the lineup is in front of me and
Yeah.
I but if I could I would do astrology, numerology.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in the cards. I think they're not
Hmm.
I don't quite get the cards. I
Yeah,
think
that
that
that's
people
more of
make
like
up
a
little.
runes, or throwing
Yeah, I've
throwing
done
randomness
runes.
into the
Yeah, I
air.
have
Yeah.
done runes before.
Mm-hmm.
Done seashells.
Mm.
But when I'm in a big fair, I don't take the time to for me.
Yeah.
So a lot of the vendors want a reading, and I say, well, I can't trade, but I'll do you first if you want to come an hour early. So I do them.
Yeah.
Never fails. Then I have
Yeah.
to be there an hour early. Or then I say, okay, we'll do it afterwards. I'm exhausted by the end, but I'm high as a kite. So they get it really fun. We laugh all through the whole thing because I'm happy because it's over.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
lineup. Yeah.
So I tell people the first one and the last one are the two best.
The first one and the last one are the two best. Yeah. Right. The beginning and
First
the
one
end.
because I'm warming up on them, and the last one because it's over, and I'm happy that I had a successful day.
Yeah.
And I
Absolutely.
set goals for myself.
Yeah.
So I say I'm going to make such and such amount of money today, and if I don't make it, I beat myself up about it.
Right.
But I almost always I make it too low. I could make it higher
It's
because I almost
good
always
to
hit
have
my
something that
goal.
you can hit, a goal that you can hit. It's a
Well,
good
there are
feeling.
some fairs are duds, and almost
Yeah.
nobody comes, and you can't do anything about that. I
Right.
get them all. The ones that are there, I get, but can't. If only 20 people come and there's 20 readers, we got a problem.
Right.
If 200 people come, it's a different thing. When I do my own fairs, there are 8 readers plus
Mm.
me. There's 9 of us,
Mm-hmm.
and we get between 90 and 100 people because I promote it.
Yeah. That's good. I think
Make
that's good
sure
numbers
it
for a
goes in
smaller show, right?
newsletters and it goes, it's out there.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of stress in doing your own show. A lot of weight
Well, I did
of.
one once
Uh,
there was 100 readers and
mm,
vendors, doctors and chiropractors and all kinds of.
yeah.
And I did it with a girlfriend and we were both going to split the money. She did nothing and I did everything. And when we got done, it came out we made 8 cents an hour because the amount of hand holding you have to do and the amount of hours and the paperwork and put the checks in the bank and
Right.
all that stuff.
And the drive to get
Yeah.
there and everything.
So I said we'd never do it again, but I'm doing it again, but just small now,
Yeah.
not on a big scale. So
Where do you have you seen the art of palmistry change in the course of time that
no,
you've
it
been doing
doesn't
it?
change.
Has
It
not
doesn't
changed.
change. The type of people who do the readings, there's gypsies.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good, but I mean, there's people do different kinds of readings,
Yeah.
So just like the man I was telling you about, he doesn't do a reading like I do. And I think he makes up little stories. He even told me he does.
Yeah.
So that's good, I guess, but that's not what I do.
Right. He's
So
probably
I
working
picked
on an
up,
impression, right?
but I haven't seen it change ever. It's
Yeah.
always the same.
And the idea and the craft behind what's being shown.
It is a craft, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's been written down for millennia.
Well, okay, numerology doesn't change because the numbers are the numbers. If you tell the truth when your birthday is, they're going
Yeah.
to look it up and do add it up and come out with the number. If you do astrology, if you tell your birthday, you can't change it.
It's a fixed.
So the
Yeah.
poem is imprinted. This is really in there deep. It's in
Mm-hmm.
your hand and you can't lie about it. And a lot of people fib to me. They go, no, I've never been married. And I say, well, I see 2 divorces there. Oh, no, you must be wrong. When I get all done, they go, I lied. You were right. I've been married twice. I just wanted to see if you knew. I took my wedding ring off when I came in here. I
Mm.
didn't want you to know. She's
Wow.
married a 3rd time. Then one woman was married 8 times. And I
Mm.
said, excuse me, do you think you're Elizabeth Taylor? And that blurted that out. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. And that would show up in the lines as well. That kind of
But the thing is, I have to have a little bit of fun
yeah,
with it.
yeah, of course.
So some of them, we laugh through the whole thing and people are just taken with me. They just love it. And they
Yeah.
get in the line and come back for a second one. And I go, didn't I just do you a few hours ago? Yeah. And then sometimes I get twins. One will come, and a few hours later, the other one, and they're identical.
Mm.
Hands are the same. I say, I just read your sister. What are you doing here? So we're pulling a trick on you, wanting to see if you get it or not.
Wow.
I said, I'm not taking your money because you go talk to her. You have the same hand. It's identical.
Even
You
the
know,
lines would be identical?
they're pretty much the same.
Wow.
A little bit variation, but not much. I've had deaf people who have to have somebody sign for them while I'm talking. I've
Mm.
had blind people feel my face.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of stuff. Foreign
Yeah.
people who don't speak English and somebody has to translate.
Oh, right.
I have a lot of patience. I
Yeah.
go through, I
That takes a lot
deal
of
with it.
time.
Takes a lot longer when it's
Mm-hmm.
like that. But that's okay because I feel like part of it isn't just what money I can make. Part of it is I'm helping somebody.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They wouldn't find me unless they needed answers, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I want to say again, I would give $25 off to anybody that would get in touch with me from your show. And
Yeah.
they would have to email me at palmist, PALMIST, at myrnalou.com. And it's MYRNALOU. I use PayPal or I take checks. And then
Okay.
they need to email me. And if they want to send a check, I can give them my address.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
And what I'll do is I'll put that in the description and
Oh,
the
good.
offer,
Okay.
and that way it's gets sent out for
Well, I'd
anybody
like to
that's
see
watching
this
or
too
listening.
or hear it. I put it
Yeah.
on my website.
Yep.
Okay, on YouTube, if anybody wanted to look at my TV show that I had in Colorado, it was
Hmm.
called Soulmate Connections, same as my book. And it's on YouTube, part 1 and part 2. All they have to do is put my name in, and all the different videos I've done will be on there.
Oh, excellent. Okay, and I'll link that as well. And thank you for being here today and doing those
I was
readings.
looking forward to this. I love
Yeah.
stuff like this. Yeah, thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
It's fantastic. And what
It
I
is,
hope is that you get your next book finished and we can
and then
have you
I'll get
back
in touch
on and
with you and
explore the
tell
book.
you about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
right now I'm stuck because I have to call the FBI and ask them what to do in a foreign country.
hmm.
So if there's a kidnapping,
Oh, oh,
the FBI only works in American waters, so it's going to have
right.
to be Panama or one of our territory. I
Yeah.
haven't got that far, but I haven't got the nerve up to call the FBI yet because I'm afraid they'll come after me by saying
Oh,
I
they'd
didn't
be
arrest
delighted.
them. Yeah, well,
They'd love it.
can't look that up in the library. That's not there.
Yeah, yeah. What's the protocol for kidnapping? That's basically,
That's why
yeah.
I'm afraid to. Yeah, but I will get. I'll get my nerve up and I'll do it because I want to finish that book. It's a little
Yeah, that sounds
exciting
good.
writing that one too. So the one that's about the cruise is a cruise ship.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the publisher asked me, what do I want for a cover? And I said, I want a crystal ball, a hand holding the cruise ship. And that's what they made.
Yeah.
And then the back has, just a description about it. So I love all my books. They're all like my babies.
Yeah.
When you give birth to a book, it's everybody who ever wrote one will tell you that. And
Right.
it's exciting when the first ones come. So the soulmate book, I sell thousands of.
Hmm.
Thousand. I get it
Still. Yeah.
reprinted 50 at a time, and I'm out of them before I know it. I have to go get 50 more, but I can't afford to buy that many all at one time, So,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah. That's
buy
how that
them in
works with the
piecemeal.
books.
But I can,
But you do keep them stocked, so they're purchasable.
people can purchase them right on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
And
are. They hit the PayPal thing, which goes to Visa or whatever their credit
yeah.
card is, and they can do it that way.
They're
Or they can
purchasable off of your website. Are they on Amazon?
And yeah, they're on
Okay.
Amazon. Two of them are ebooks plus regular, paperback. The soulmate, the only one that they can't get anywhere else is this May I See Your Hand, because that publisher went away.
Right.
So, in fact, she called me up and said, if you want your stock, I have it. I can
Hmm.
mail it all to you. If you want to pay the postage, I'll just give you the books.
Wow.
So that
That's
was nice. I went through those like a nothing flat, 300 of them.
ooh, gosh.
So I sell a lot of books, and I
Yeah,
love it.
that's great.
And the ones that go overseas, I can't say how much the shipping is. I have to take the book to the post office. They weigh it, tell me what that country's stuff is. Then you
Mm-hmm.
have to do all the paperwork to get it. There's a guy in Africa that wants it, but it costs more than the book. The book
Yeah.
is $20 and the shipping is 23. So I said, I don't think it's worth $43 for you to get my book. He said, we got to figure out another way. But there
Wow.
is
Yeah.
another way if that's where he is.
Well, international shipping is pretty wild right now. It's definitely
Terrible.
yeah.
Yeah. And where he lives, he said it isn't even reliable. He
Hmm.
lives along the Cape or somewhere in southern Africa. And he says sometimes their mail doesn't even make it.
Yeah.
Or
Wow. Shoot.
DHL or, whoever you send it with, FedEx.
Yeah. FedEx
So
or
he didn't get it.
UPS or yeah
But he wanted
DHL
it.
something like
But
that.
sometimes you want something, you can't have it.
Right.
You can't
Yeah.
get it to
Yeah.
him any other way. I don't have it in, like manuscript form that I could send to him. The publisher had that.
Hmm.
So I have the finished book,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, I had a good time tonight. It went
Yeah.
fast,
Yeah.
didn't
Well,
it?
I really appreciate it.
These
And
shows always go fast when I do them for some reason. I have a
yeah, yeah, just right through. Yeah. Well, there's a lot going on in your life. You've had a very full life, a lot of
yeah.
experiences.
But I think that's what keeps you young because my head is 30. I think
Yeah.
I'm 30 years old in my head, maybe 32.
Yeah.
So the more you do, that's what I said. I'll still be doing this at 100 with the magnifier in my hand because I can't give it up.
They say if
I
you
just
do
think,
something you love, you never work a day in your life. And
well, I work every day, doing something that has to do with this. So
yeah,
that's what is something to look forward to.
it's your passion.
You
Yeah. Yeah, very
So
good reading, and what I would recommend for anybody is to get a reading, get the $25
mhm.
off,
Yeah, which is a big
find out
savings.
what's going on or what's been going on, and what
And if
might
they
be
went to
happening.
PayPal, oh, we
Hmm?
forgot. If you go to PayPal, if they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to order it, first they would email me and tell me. Then they would
Okay.
go to PayPal and they would type in either palmist at myrnalou.com or MLG, which are my initials, MLG at myrnalou.com. Or they could put Myrna Lou Goldbaum, but it's much harder to put my whole name in. It's easier
Right.
to put an email, and they just,
Yeah.
it'll say, how much do you want? And you say, I want to spend $75, and it says done. They send it to me, and when I see it, then I would do their hand.
Okay.
But they
Easy.
have to email me anyway to send me their hand, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So I tell people, put it on a towel or a placemat or something like you did, lay it
Hmm.
out so I can see it pretty good, and take a picture with your phone. The trouble is, if you're right-handed and you lay your right hand down, you got to do it with the hand that you're not familiar with the left
Yeah.
hand.
The
It's harder to
non-dominant.
do. So sometimes somebody else should take it for you.
Right.
You lay your hand down and let somebody snap it, because if you do it, it could be shaky.
Yeah.
You did it. You did your left with your right hand, though, didn't
Oh
you?
yeah. I'm a
Because
lefty though. I have to learn how to do everything with my right hand.
that's right. You became ambidextrous. Yeah.
Yeah.
So am I.
I'm forced into it, you know.
Yeah. So
Well,
if
it
I
was
was,
very difficult getting a 20-month-year-old's hand pictured, but
oh, I bet that was a chore.
yeah.
Because they don't want to sit still long enough to do it. Yeah.
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 But very insightful. Very insightful information.
Thank you. The one thing
And
I forgot to tell you was he
yeah.
has a giant M on his hand. M
Yes.
stands for a lot of things, a lot of money. When you're old, you won't have to work because he'll
Hmm.
take care of you.
That's what I'm hoping. That's the goal. No,
Yeah.
just,
And it stands for a survivor. So it means
oh,
anything
okay.
that happens to him, he'll come out of it okay.
That's
And
good.
also, he's like you, and he's got a lot of your characteristics.
Hmm. He seems to, yeah, visually.
Well, I mean, because he's got the high IQ,
Hmm.
he's going to be a perfectionist. He doesn't believe in divorce, but I know you had one probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, it showed one on there.
Yeah. Well, we're basically the same sign, so I wonder if that also has something to do with the lineup.
No,
No?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because you come from all those other relatives way back. It's a combination of a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know how long some of my relatives would have lived because they were killed in the Holocaust.
Hmm. Oh, wow.
If they
Yeah.
had if they had lived, I'd have a better way of knowing what my lifeline really is.
Yeah.
So what mine shows is 85. I know that isn't
Okay.
right, but that's because that's my mother was 89, my dad was 78, and that's like an average between the two of them. The
Hmm.
grandparents all died younger because they ate wrong. They didn't know not to eat Crisco and lard,
Right.
and they didn't know fruits and vegetables are good for you. They didn't exercise,
Yeah.
so they didn't live long.
And that's the potential basically is
And
the
they
the
didn't keep their
age.
brain active and keep on
Yeah.
doing things to keep they sat on a couch,
Right.
and you waste away when you just sit saying, I'm
Yeah.
not sitting.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Yeah.
if you could see I'm tan.
Uh-huh.
You could see, I don't know if you could see I'm pretty tan.
Oh yeah.
And it's because we live in Florida and I do 45 minutes a day of hard aerobics in my pool.
Oh, there you go.
Then I
Yeah.
have 15 minutes of cool down. That's the pleasure part every single day, no matter what. So
15
that's
minutes
part of that keeps you young too.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
keeps the bones moving and everything not killing you. Then yesterday I went to the beach and I walked 4 miles
Wow.
and I pick up shark's teeth because here it's called the shark's tooth capital of the world.
Oh, okay.
And so I picked up 150 shark's teeth.
Wow.
So that means I bent over 150 times because each one is represents bending over to because you
Right.
have to hunt for them.
That's
Yeah,
good. It
I
gives
got
you a
some
count.
really, I got some pretty good ones.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
so
great. Well,
um,
again, great having you. And when you get that other book done, let's have you back on again.
I'll let you know when it's
And
published. Yeah,
yeah,
because
absolutely.
it's the same publisher. Yeah.
Perfect.
Well,
Perfect.
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And well, I hope to talk soon.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye bye.